Good evening, and thank you, as always, for joining us here on Speed Racing Network, week number 8, and that'll take us out to Talladega Super Speedway. It's going to be a good one down here in Alabama tonight. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Pete Rusick. As always, Pete, big change from where we were at last week at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely. Go from a 7-turn road course to a track that is wide open all over the place. I can't wait to get at it. I mentioned it last week, Greg. The only rule on track tonight is don't push the pusher. You can do anything else you want to do, and oh, by the way, stay above the yellow line.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw a very good Daytona race that was controlled entirely by Tank Racing. They are looking very fast here again tonight. Might we see the same thing happen again here? This is a team-oriented race here this evening with 5 cars, and actually Tank is going to have an extra with Devin Zimmerman showing up here this evening. So a lot to keep an eye on, and it's that time where it is time to make a move if you're going to make an effort at the playoffs here. So let's go ahead, check out the Speed Racing Network point standings. Joseph Causey still at the top of the board, but by only 1 point ahead of Ed Shearer, who now has 2 wins next to his name. Reese Schaefer there in 3rd. Chris Lucky quietly there in 4th place. Timothy Latham going to round out the top 5.
You know, when we interviewed Ed Shearer for his first SRN Cup Series win, he was just happy, he said, to get 1. To go ahead and knock out 2 now and be as consistent as he's been. I tell you what, Joseph Causey now leading by just 1 point. He's going to have to watch that rear view where he might actually see that championship lead he has off in the sunset.
Yeah, so, a lot to look at here, and we got to take a look at the top 10, the rest of the top 10, too. Seth Berger sitting there in 6th place after a good run to this season. Win to his name already. Lane Hosler and Robert Norfleet tied for 7th. Michael Politis and Josh Siegfried rounding out the top 10. So that gap is definitely starting to widen up here in the Cup Series. Blair Holman with a 12-point gap over Jordan Sailors. Now, keep in mind, this is before drop weeks take place, so that will shake things up quite a bit, and I believe we will show you guys them around week number 10. So taking a look at the rest of the field, we got Taylor Lockley back here in 17th. Jeremy Little, who has had good runs all season long, but just hasn't had the finish to complement them, finds himself 18 points back in 18th. Bobby Anderson and Steve Whitmore rounding out the top 20. And, not a lot of guys in this, bottom half of the field within a 1-race distance. They can't just close that gap in a race. It's starting to open up for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it really is. But Talladega, I mean, it's the great equalizer. As they've been saying, we could see a huge shift in the points when we get to next week. I mean, this field, Greg, is just about full.
Oh yeah, it's a big field here tonight, and a lot of guys here in the back are going to be looking at possibly trying to make a move up these standings. I mean, David Duke, who's sitting back here 22nd with a win next to his name, just 28 points out of that top 15. He's going to be looking to run up front. He runs a lot of super speedway racing, so look for that 78 to be a contender here tonight. And then there's Devin Zimmerman, who won at Daytona, not running the full point season anymore, but could very well snag his 2nd win in his SRN career here tonight. So let's go ahead, move on, and check out the team championship standings as they stand after Watkins Glen. Tank Racing, no surprise, still number 1 with a 126-point gap ahead of Gear Up Motorsports. Phoenix Virtual Racing also sitting there in 3rd. Quite a pretty good battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is very, very important when it comes to seeding.
Yeah, and Tank Racing, it seems like they've actually dropped just a little bit. If I'm not mistaken, the last time we looked at the overall team championship standings, and they absolutely fluctuate every single week. I think last week Tank Racing was up in the 130s, close to 140 if I'm not mistaken. Now sitting just 126 markers back is Gear Up Motorsports, Phoenix Virtual Ohio Sim, which has been very, very strong since joining. Of course, Rat Pack, Bobby Anderson, RTR, Zuyost, and then the newcomer, Ions Motorsports.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ions Motorsports. You see what I did there, Pete?
I do.
They got another driver here this evening. Michael York is back here running in the series. He had to take a little time away from SRN, but he is back. So now Ions, who typically only has Brad Herman out there as their only scoring driver, they now have two drivers to kind of add up points, and it's only a 100-point gap separating them and Zuyost, who is also a two-man team. So keep an eye on this 8-9 battle because the top 8 teams will advance to that team championship playoff. So as always, want to give a shout out to our sponsors here on Speed Racing Network, Silverback Tax Solutions. Check them out if you have any problems with the IRS at all. They will get you taken care of. Sparkle and Shine Mobile Detailing. If you're looking to get that car all cleaned up, headed to the beach, ready to go, check out Sparkle and Shine. Butt Kicker, they have our Hard Charger Award this season, and they're going to be handing out a free Butt Kicker game or two to each of the winners of the Hard Charger in each series here this year. We'll get to that in just a second. And TJ's Team Foundation at morethan-a-cape.org. But this is what they're racing for when it comes to that Hard Charger. A nice piece of equipment here. Butt Kicker Gamer 2, Pete.
Absolutely. This game or two, it really it immerses you into the full feeling that you get at all of these tracks. You want to feel the bumps on the backstretch at Auto Club, or you want to feel the just the overall track feeling that you get every single place you go. These Butt Kicker units are the place, are the equipment that you want. And Greg, I still have that adapter waiting to be given away if the winner doesn't get one at the end of the season. I've got one sitting here for that guy.
There you go. So a lot of bar racing here in these top 10 standings, but Bobby Anderson still leading the way, a slim margin ahead of Blair Holloman. He's at plus 13.67 positions gained on average throughout the season. Blair Holloman sitting at 11.33, and Josh Siegfried there in third. All three of these drivers well within a distance. That could very well change here tonight. Josh Siegfried could easily move into number one if he starts a little bit further on back in the pack. But yeah, a fun little race that we have aside from our championship where they're racing for some big money this year, racing for a nice piece of equipment too, thanks to Butt Kicker. Go ahead and check them out. But on to the Silverback Tax Solutions Power Rankings, handed down to us from our very own Sean Griffith over at Silverback Tax Solutions. He's got Ed Shearer now at number one after that win, that dominating win at Watkins Glen last week. Joseph Causey falls to number two. Timothy Latham there in three. Chris Lucky up to four. Seth Berger down to 5. Then rounding out the top 10, P, you got Reese Schaefer, Robert Norfleet, Lane Hosler, Josh Siegfried, and newcomer Michael Politis.
Yeah, you really can't argue with these standings much with the kind of performance that Ed Shearer has been putting on. Excuse me. We talked about this in the very beginning when we were looking at the overall driver points. And Ed Shearer has just absolutely performed. It'll be interesting to see if these standings fluctuate much between here and next week, being the chess match that Talladega winds up being.
Yeah, keep an eye on the bubble drivers as well. Matthew Greathouse, Brad Herman, David Duke, Jeremy Little, and Brian McAvoy. So that's a look at the Silverback Tax Solutions Power Rankings. But we have about a minute before qualifying is over, so that gives us some time to give a quick shout out to our very own TJ's Team, who has our winning moment at the end of each race at morethan-a-cape.org, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually just put their site up in the chat, www.morethanacape.org. It is a charity started up by the one and only Travis Anderson after his young son TJ unfortunately passed of a pediatric cancer. And I see you scrolling there through the site. And again, Greg, every single week, the statement that sticks out more and more says we don't know how strong we are until being strong is the only choice we have. And when you're having to care and worry and watch a loved one in the hospital, that's where your whole focus should be. You shouldn't have to worry about car bills, house bills, food bills, and all that. TJ's team, very much like St. Jude's, they help you with all those expenses so you can care about your loved one.
Yeah, so go ahead and click that donate button if you're feeling like you want to give to TJ's Team Foundation, and any little bit helps. So thanks to them, as always, for coming on board this season. But qualifying is over, Pete. It's time to get down to 80 laps at Talladega Super Speedway and kick off this week of throwback paint schemes. Yeah, we're doing throwback week here at Talladega since we don't have Darlington on the schedule. Figured this is the perfect time to do it. So there you see a not too bad track temperature, 104 degrees out here at this 2.65 mile oval. Nice day, low winds, partly cloudy here in Alabama. It's gonna be a good one, Pete.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a great race overall. And as I see you bring up the starting grid, the only thing I'm really worried about, Greg, is how touchy and how loose and how very, very hard these cars have been able to catch after getting loose. Right in the middle of one of these big old packs. Will someone trying to overcorrect all of a sudden snap to the right, not only knock out the wall, but knock out half the field? I hope not. Matt Greathouse, though, showing what a great house Talladega truly is.
Yeah, let's knock out these starting orders, why don't we? So you mentioned it, Greathouse on the pole. Causey to his outside in row number 1. Reese Schaefer, Kyle Spees in row number 2. Chris Lucky, Micah Politis there in row number 3. Seth Berger, Taylor Locklear in row number 4. Now, Robert Norfleet. Sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, be my guest, sir. Go.
No, I'm done. I'm done talking.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, Robert Norfleet and Bobby Anderson, they're going to round out P9 and P10. Scott Kalal, he's rocking the 11th spot in his number 23. David Duke, he's going to start from P number 12. There we go. From P13, and these guys are already moving. Yeah, P13 is going to be Ed Shearer with Justin Smith. Devin Zimmerman, he's going to go ahead and make a start in that number 33 with Emerson Ardon starting P16. P17 is going to be Josh Siegfried with Brian McAvoy to his outside. And to round out your top 20 here, Greg, Tommy Haynes and Timothy Latham.
There you have it. So, Pete, who you got tonight? There's a big field here at Talladega. 40 drivers here for the Cup Series race here on Tuesday night in SRN's Cup Series. Who you got, Pete?
I got tail end Charlie. I'm looking at driver 85, old Brad Herman, all the way in the back in his waste management. I believe that's going to be a throwback to Sterling Marlin, if I'm not mistaken, in one of his quick rides.
I do believe you're right. Yeah, he did run a waste management paint scheme in the Cup Series towards the end of his career. Not a bad pick. I'm going to go ahead, and I think everybody knows who I'm about to pick. I'm taking this man, Bobby Anderson, because he is throwing it back to me tonight in the Moo car here. He's got the cow print paint scheme in that number 18 Chevy Camaro for Bobby Anderson Racing. So I'm taking Bobby. I've won my first race at Daytona in this paint scheme, and hey, maybe he gets his first win in SRN in this paint scheme as well.
Yeah, I remember all the tweets and Facebook posts and everything for the Moo and Brew car. Phenomenal paint scheme, very, very detailed. It'd look amazing in Victory Lane. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it almost feels weird without me driving it out there. I'm kind of very protective over my cow print paint scheme, and I mean, anybody has the right to run it, but man, it just looks so unique out there, so super cool to see that. But we got a Kyle Busch paint scheme sitting here on the pole next to a Dale Jr. paint scheme from the past. Kind of cool throwing back this front row to a few years back here. And, yeah, Greathouse going to have the field in his hands. Causey to his outside. That Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is waving here at Dega. Greathouse gets him started.
Yeah, Greathouse pretty quick on the throttle. Joseph Causey right behind. Reese Schaefer, talk about a 17 throwback to Matt Kenseth, but all four of those cars able to pull up right behind, and they are now stacked up all the way back. A little bit more on the bottom as the field goes towards the back, but up front they're still side by side for 3 rows deep.
Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with these cameras today. Got a good little pack here at Talladega. Gonna chase these cars all the way around this 2.5-mile oval, and they are flying around here. Joseph Causey out to the early jump.
I'm very surprised, Greg, to see so many cars on that bottom line. With the updates that they've done to these next gen or Gen 7 cars, you don't have to run on the bottom anymore. You can side draft, you can pull, unless these guys are just saying, you know what, it's only lap 1 of 80. There's no sense in getting side by side. Let's figure out these cars. Let's figure out exactly how the draft works in these big packs and go after it later.
Well, there you see it, the top 5 getting single filed out, and then about 6th on back, they're going to be side by side. That's Politis to the outside there of Reese Schaefer. Really going to be hard for me to adjust all these new paint schemes this week, but they all look so great out there. That Matt Kenseth throwback there by Reese Schaefer looking really good with the number to match and everything.
Yep.
And then you got the Quaker State throwback here that Robert Norfleet's in. Not sure. Is that a Ken Schrader throwback there, Pete? You would know. You're a
I
little
believe
older
that's
than
either
me.
a Ken Schrader or that might be Darrell Waltrip's old Gatorade car.
Well, the 56, man. I'm talking 56 here. I'm thinking, I don't know, man. You know better than me. So we're just.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the quick. Yeah, it's Bobby Labonte throwback, I believe.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
there you have it. You see Bobby Anderson dropping down behind Seth Berger there in the 24. That's going to give the 28 of Justin Smith back there a run up to the back of this pack here on the outside lane. Things are not going to quiet down here early on. These guys are side by side throughout the field, not single filing out like we always think they might.
No, not at all. The 6 car on that outside of Michael Politis seems to have attracted some attention. He's got that 56 as well as the 28. He actually just ran, I forget his name right now, but it'll come back to me. We actually saw the 28 car on track at Talladega this week. And, man, it looked really, really good again.
Yeah, Clint Boyer had a chance
There
to
you
drive
go.
that around, and it was really cool. It's just crazy to see how much these cars have changed throughout the course of time here in NASCAR, and they're going to continue to change. Matthew Greathouse, you see there getting a penalty. Must have jumped a little bit too early and went before the green, and, man, Politis with a push from Norfleet all the way to the front of this thing. Politis now at the point here at Dega.
Yeah, 56 gave a shot to the 6 all the way over to the right-hand side, and the 6 of Mike Politis was able to hold on to it. Great job by him. One of the things you've got to do in these cars in order to be able to take a shot like that and hold on to it is just to adjust your brake bias just a little bit, and you can take that shot, take the push, and yeah, those two were able to move from the high side down in front of the leaders and keep on going. But yeah, as you said, penalty handed down. Leader had to come in.
Yeah, so now Politis at the point. Greathouse going to have to get to work. He is in last after starting on the pole of this thing. Finds himself 30 seconds back of the lead and is going to be in real trouble to go a lap down early on here, with nobody to help back there. You mean the next person closest to him is Britt Van Meter, who's 20 seconds ahead with his teammate Steve Whitmore. So even Britt has a drafting partner. He's going to pull away from that 51 as well. So something to keep an eye on. Our pole sitter in trouble here early on. So there you see Brooke giving Josh Siegfried the shout out that she always does. Siegfried is, I'm trying to find where Siegfried is currently running. There he is, 26th right now. He's running in the middle of this pack, which is always a danger zone, Pete. You got to play it careful. I like to be at the very tail end of this thing. Yeah. because of that right there. You never know.
Oh yeah, the Kyle Speeds was all over the right rear of the 88 of Joseph Causey, but Causey had the presence of mind and the present track position or track awareness, I should say, to go ahead and pull it on back down. Now the 36 guy has the 28 to his outside. They're going to think about going 3 wide for about P3, P4, P5, but 28 with no help, he's going to fall back a few spots.
Watch the photo finish cam. Everybody goes by just like that. And then we're going to have a second pack right here that's starting to build up from these cars that lose it. But we're 3 wide and further on back right here. Bobby Anderson now just getting through that. Now it's Blair Hallman in the sandwich here between, I believe, Justin Smith and I believe that's Devin Zimmerman there in the 33. So got to be careful here early on to be doing this much 3 wide racing. But with how wide this surface is, you can really get away with it here at Dega. The lines help a lot too with keeping your lane here. You don't get that as much at Daytona.
No, Daytona, you can go 3 wide, but you've got to have people that you're confident can hold their line. Here, almost all the way around, you can go 4 wide. And you got to be a little careful, but like you said, the lines do help quite a bit. Brandon Domain out there in chat saying the 56 could be Schrader. Kinzer and Brett Bodine ran that too. So Brandon doing a little bit of help with us.
The verdict is not decided though. We don't know who that is. I'm going with Ken Schrader. Maybe if Robert Norfleet gets up here in the booth at the end of this one, he can just ask him himself. But yeah, Kyle Speed's getting a huge push in this outside lane with Scott Kalal as well as Bobby Anderson and Blair Holloman. Now the one of Daniel Bowdler leading that inside lane. Daniel making a heck of a return here to SRN, looking to get back in that winner's column and get that number 1 car out in front. That Martin Truex throwback there looking good as ever. So a big old drag race down into turn number 1 between him and Kyle Speeds as they both lead their respective lanes.
Greg, I got to ask you, if that 18 is able to get up to the lead when it comes to the end of these 80 laps and he's leading, how emotional are you going to be to see your paint scheme in victory lane yet again?
Hey, it would be very cool to see that car in victory lane again, mainly just because it would be Bobby Anderson's first career win in SRN. I just love seeing first-time winners. What can I say? But I'm not going to jinx anybody here because he's having a good run to this point. I guess I already gave him enough jinx with me picking him to win this race. We can't do that to him twice. We can't do a double jinx, Pete.
No, we won't tell him until later on. But yeah, this one car coming on a charge. Daniel Bowdler all the way on the bottom. He's got a great push from the 56 as well as the 88 in tow. So we got 2 fully formed lines again. Once again, Greg, we saw everybody get single file on the bottom. I guess they might have gotten a little bit of a feel now of these Gen 7 cars. And yeah, looking at that one up 24 spots. You wouldn't see that on a typical oval. Here's your hard charger so far.
Yeah, in a hurry, too. I mean, he got up here by lap number 9. He was in control of this thing and found himself up front, but he is heavily contested from Robert Norfleet there on the outside. This outside lane is really impressing me with the runs that they're getting on the exit of these turns. I mean, they're clearing 2 or 3 cars at a time. I think the top 3 there on the outside lane could easily clear Daniel Bowdler and almost bring Bobby Anderson along, too. That's how – whoa! And Norfleet gets into it on the outside. He goes spinning through the infield.
He's in the infield. I see him kind of locking it down, trying to hold on to it. Great job by him so far, though. We're going to stay green. It looks like he's able to grab a gear and get back him going. He's going to try to go ahead and pull up on track. Very, very steep banking here, 33 degrees of banking. I don't think he really suffered a whole lot of damage, but he's going to have to try to get up and get going as quick as he can because he's going to get lapped very soon.
Let's check it out and see what happened. Kyle Speeds made a move on him there to go to the outside, and they kind of just door banged each other right there. Let's see if we can go ahead and see that from a different angle here because I want to see exactly what led to that. I don't know if it was a little bit of side draft here from the 36 and net code. Maybe, yeah, big time net code. Sends the 56 to the inside, but keeps it off the wall, luckily. And that 56 will live to see another day.
Yeah, he will. Great save by him to go ahead and lock it down, not go into that inside wall like Kyle Busch did a few years back. So he'll, yeah, like you said, he will live to fight another day. In the meantime, Scott Kolov, a lone Canadian in the field, he's moved his way up 10 spots up to P number 1 with the 06 of Blair Holloman right until Greg Smith in that 28. But the 06 wants a shot at the lead. 28's going to push him.
Yeah, the 06 just really shoved the 23 into the corner there. Now he's in the sucker hole, what they like to call it, there in the middle. He's going to fall back big time with the momentum that each of these lines have. Tough break here for the 23, but just goes to show how strong this draft here is at super speedways. He goes from first all the way back to 20th.
Well, how about from 20th up to P number 7 right now? Now back to P number 8. We're talking driver up 25 spots. Driver number 3, Corey Sauce here, right now sitting in P9. He's kind of fallen back a few, but that's going to happen here at Dega. If he has a little bit of that Earnhardt magic, we might see him come up 18 spots in the final 3 laps to go ahead and take this W.
Wow, really tight moments there for that 3, though, man. I know he is white-knuckling that car around here right now because you can see the accordion effect happening right there where he just hit David Duke real hard going into that corner but slowed him down, and then he had people to his inside. But luckily, they all got it sorted out here, and that's just the difference of running in the middle of the pack as opposed to running in the front. You're going to get those big accordion effects that kind of throw your momentum off, essentially, and can get you in some real danger with giving other people big runs here to your inside or outside.
I tell you what's really surprising me right now is the pull that the 3 car got back up to the rear bumper of the I believe that's going to be the 8. Nope, it's not going to be the 18. The 78 maybe. Kind of went by on screen on screen pretty quick. Yeah, this is going to be the 78 of David Duke. He got a big pull. And these next-gen cars are not very well known for their drafting at the super speedways. It seemed like, in the real-life races and at Daytona and whatnot, if you fall more than 2 to 3 tenths off the pack, you can easily lose the draft. Oh, by the way, look at 18.
Yeah, just as we were looking at him, Daniel Ballard takes him 3 wide and brings those guys with him. Now Bobby Anderson going to fall victim to that middle lane. It's kind of happening a lot here. Seeing a lot of these leaders get cycled out to the back. It's a very savage strategy indeed when you come to super speedways, but you got to work your way up to the front. And that's where I disagree with a lot of people too. They say that super speedway racing is easy. No, it is not easy to get yourself set up and in position to win these things because it is a constant chess match out here and going at 200 miles an hour at the same time. So it's not easy to think of these things on the fly like they're doing. And Daniel Ballard just made that look easy, and everybody went with him.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have friends out here. Really haven't seen a whole lot of teaming up just yet to really try to push and see if they can gain any kind of gap. But then again, Greg, there's really no point in that because eventually the pack is going to run you back down. We might see that a little bit later on to see if a team can get 5 deep, 4 or 5 deep, and just push, try to get a little bit of a juggernaut going to see just how far ahead they could pull, and then drop back into the pack and try to set themselves up for the end.
Well, this outside lane is just killing it here at Dega. Just big time runs on that inside lane, and I mean Daniel Ballard just shoved Causey out to the lead to the point to where Causey had to go to the inside, and Ballard just flew on by him, bringing David Duke just behind him. So the new leader, Daniel Ballard, David Duke in second, and that 3 of Corey Saucier finds himself in third. So good to see that paint scheme running out here towards the front at Talladega.
Auction's out. Talking about the 3, though. In third, up 30 spots. Biggest mover so far. And seeing a few names kind of pop up. Saw Seth Berger, Doc Holliday, Emerson Ardon, Brian McAvoy, as well as a few others.
So let's cue up that Sparkle and Shine mobile detailing wreck replay here and see exactly what happened. This is going to be going along with Rhett Tucker here in that 99. So it's already happening in front of him. Doc Holliday, and I'm not sure who it is in that Hot Wheels car getting together. That might be Kyle Ryan.
Let's see the just sideways right there. Just missed him. Looks like it's going to be a 96 maybe.
Let's see here. This is going with Doc Holliday here, who we saw spinning around here.
91.
Looked like there was a checkup in front of him that shoved the 9 out. The Kyle Ryan tried to check up as well, but didn't get off the 9 in time. Sends him around right in front of Taylor Locklear in the 77 of Chris Lucky. That really cool Skull Bandit throwback here. But yeah,
Yep.
big time damage for a lot of these guys here early on. I mean, this was a good 8 or 9 cars that were involved in this one.
Yeah, a lot of guys said, you know what, I'm just gonna start in the back or qualify in the back or not qualify at all. And sometimes there is no safe place at Talladega.
Yeah, this is Emerson trying to get out of the way for it, not getting slowed down in time, and boom, Kyle Ryan comes down right in front of him, and he catches a little piece of the 79 of Brian McAvoy as well. So the 57 here, who was one of the favorites coming into tonight's race, one of those tank racing cars that found themselves out in front of Daytona all race long, in early trouble here at Talladega.
Well, great. Looks like quite a few people are taking this time to come on down to go ahead and top off. Not quite sure if you need tires. I believe when iRacing actually ran the full Daytona 500, people only lost like 3% of their tire wear over the entire length of that race. Not a big wear issue on these super speedways in these Gen 7 cars. If you're going to do anything, because of the amount of time that it takes to refill or refuel these things, maybe just take right sides or just take left sides to help you plant that car in those 33-degree corners.
Well, David Duke comes out as your leader. A very quick pit stop of 8.3 seconds. Comes out ahead of Corey Saucier, Jordan Sailors, Zach Deuscher, and Joseph Clausy, who rounds out the top 5. So let's go ahead, step aside for a moment, take a few quick commercial breaks, and we will be right back after these words.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktx.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
You guys did not miss one bit of the action. The pace car lights are off, and you're taking a look at the leader, David Duke, in the number 78 machine here tonight. So he is looking to maybe snag his second win on the season. Won by 9 thousandths of a second at Pocono. Maybe he might have another run to the finish here tonight at Talladega. So that is your current leader. There's Corey Saucier there in second. Jordan Sailor's there in third. Zach Deutscher to his outside in fourth. Joseph Causey there in fifth. You got Daniel Bowdler back to sixth place. Blair Holloman in seventh. Bobby Anderson in the eighth position. Justin Smith there in ninth with Timothy Latham. He's going to round out our top 10. So that shook it up a little bit. That wreck was towards the middle of the pack, but still snagged some good cars that were in contention of maybe stealing a win here tonight and helping their case towards the playoffs here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, talking about 78 of David Duke and that great finish that he got at Pocono, running out of gas. Talladega is more known for victories by a couple hundredths of a second, not Pocono. But we'll have to see if he can pull one off again. He's got that famed 3 car to the outside. Corey Saucier, Jordan Sailor's about to give that 78 a big old push. We'll have to see if Zach Deutscher can be all over the back end of that 3 and get him out to the lead as well. Greg, green flag's out.
Yeah, Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is a waving here at Talladega as these cars roar on down towards the turn number 1. David Duke gets a good jump on the rest of the field.
I tell you, it seems like these cars take forever to get wound up. But again, just going into turn 1, the track is so massive, it seems like they're going slow. But already by turn 1, they're at 125, 130 miles per hour. 78 now has the clear lead. Outside line is falling back.
Yeah, so riding on board here with David Duke, this is the view that you want to have here at Talladega. Leading the charge, nobody in front, everybody sitting here just behind him. He's got Jordan Sailors there in the Raise Energy number 55. I believe that's a Crisco throwback there, so a really cool looking car. But Duke with some good speed. I mean, these cars are getting near 190 miles an hour. They slowed them down a little bit, but still got some good speed here at the super speedways.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these cars, before they made all these updates, we ran a bunch of tests for a new league that was starting up at the time, and you could go full throttle at around a place like Las Vegas Motor Speed or Chicago or a couple of places like that. Since they've made these updates, not so much. Talladega, Daytona, and iRacing Super Speedway, nothing much has changed except for the ability to change the pinion, and that's about it. You're still full throttle all the way around this place, except for when you're having to check up. One of the most common misconceptions about plate racing, Greg, is that you're on the throttle all the time. There's actually more checking up going on than there is actual, pedal just matted to the floorboard all the way around this 2.66 mile tri-oval super speedway.
Yeah, and I mean, running in the middle of the pack can save you a lot more fuel than it can as the leader. So maybe we're in a strategy now where you might be able to one-stop your way to the end of this thing. I'm not too certain on the fuel window here, so that's just adding to the mystery that is the Cup Series race at Talladega tonight, because it could be any number of laps, and me and Pete wouldn't know. So it could still be a 2-stop strategy. It could be a 1-stop strategy here. We're just going to have to follow it and see how it goes because, hey, we saw it at Daytona. This thing went green the whole time in the Cup Series. Already nicked that in the bud here tonight with the first caution coming out not too long ago. So we could just very well see this be a 1-caution race here with the way these Cup Series guys run.
Yeah, I stopped in on a few of these teams to wish them luck. Told them that we'd catch them on stream and whatnot. And as I got down to tank racing, I said, good luck everybody, catch on stream. Let's see, let's go get it, whatever, blah blah blah. And somebody shouted out we can go 75 laps on a tank of fuel, which is going to leave us 5 laps. We'll have to figure out how all that works. But Greg, nobody in that channel was named Pinocchio.
Yeah, I'm not falling for that one. It was a good attempt there. Right. But you're not going to slide that one on by me. Yeah. I'm going to go with it being close to maybe 25 laps, I feel like, on a run. So I don't know if they can make it here on one stop. I'm sure somebody in chat can tell us one of them being Brandon Domain. He's usually my fuel guy. He's out there in the chat this evening. So maybe he knows. He can fill us in if he does. But out front, no change. It's David Duke and Jordan Sailors leading the charge. And Mr. Causey waiting for the rest of his tank racing teammates to get back up here. Maybe they can get back in control of this thing like they did at Daytona. So Rat Pack not going to want to let that happen with the way they're having a good run here this evening.
Yeah, Joseph Causey in that number 88. You mentioned throwback to the old Dale Jr. AC Delco days, and how fitting is it that right behind that 88 is that number 3, and then the 06 of Blair Holloman right now to round out that top 5. Greg, I'm kind of watching some of these guys come through a few of the random bumps in the middle of the trial. It's kind of making them squirrely just a little bit. They'll have to kind of adjust their force feedback settings maybe a little bit in order to handle that a little bit better. You really can't do much with most of the wheel settings, but that is something that these guys can adjust on.
Clint Castleberry getting out of line back there. He's going to drop to the back of this thing and just tag along and ride for a little bit, but it's heating up here from about 5th on back, side by side throughout the rest of the field. Top 4 or 5 in single file condition as it stands right now, but we've seen this outside lane get some really big runs here tonight already. I expect to see the same here with Zach Deutscher leading the charge, Bobby Anderson just behind him, Scott Kalal also in that outside lane.
Yeah, Greg Smith in that deuce. Zach Deutscher, rather, in that deuce, that Brad Keselowski throwback. I think the reason that they haven't made up as much ground as the guys before them did is when they're going into the corners, they're not keeping it tight on that white line. You want to keep your left sides on that white line all the way through the corner. As he washes up, he's giving those more. He needs to keep it really tight on that bottom line and allow that pullback on them to help out, and also the draft. The 18's doing all that he can to push him through, but the 2 is just leaving too much of a gap to the bottom.
Wow, there was a big moment there. Justin Smith came up in front of Zach Deutscher, and I don't think Deutscher was expecting that, but the 28 now leading the charge in that outside lane, but they're losing steam because of that move. They kind of got out of sync a little bit, and now they're going to have to get that draft back up and running and all that momentum there on the outside line. Michael Politis now trying to do the same thing, but thinks better of it, comes back down to the inside lane and settles back in front of Scott Kalal there.
Yeah, watch where this 28 is going through the corner. He's got his left sides on that dotted white line, even a little bit below, and they're not losing any time. The 2 just really needs to be all over his tailpipe and keep the pressure on, and they're starting to make up some spots.
Yeah, lap car there. I believe that's Taylor Locklear, who's got heavy damage from that earlier incident. He gets out of the way of these guys. That outside lane starting to try and pick up some steam. They might be okay if Blair Holloman stays as far off of that bumper of Corey Saucier as he is. That inside lane starting to get a little bit of split up here. That's going to give more momentum to the outside lane. Look for that 28 to start moving up towards the front, which is very fitting in that Davey Allison paint scheme here at Talladega.
Absolutely. Now side by side with the 06 of Blair Holloman. Next is going to be the 3 of Corey Saucier, and they're just going to keep on keeping on. Now you also see the 5 of I just saw him a moment ago, Timothy Latham right there as well, starting to move up on that bottom behind the 06, and he's got a whole lot of company. And look at that number 8, I believe, just a little bit back. Oh, Byron McDonald in that Jeff Gordon throwback. That thing's pretty sweet as well.
Yeah, the old Jurassic Park throwback to win. Jeff Gordon ran that paint scheme not too long ago. It looks really good. I know Byron loves doing his paints, so give him some FaceTime for a job well done in that beautiful advanced sim racing number 8 machine. So yeah, looks good, Byron.
Absolutely. Didn't Jeff Gordon actually get that car banned, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't remember, Pete. I am not going to lie to you.
I think NASCAR told him don't bring that car back to a track. And Ray Evernham had no choice but to agree.
Well, That must have meant it was a really good race car, I'd have to imagine, if he was told that. So, a good one to throw back to if you're Byron McDonald. Maybe he gets his second career SRN win. He's won here at Talladega before. Might he get a second win here at Dega? Only one way to find out, and that's to stay tuned for these next 50 laps here in Alabama. So they go by another couple of lap cars. That's Chris Lucky up there to the outside. He is unfortunately having some significant troubles with that 77, not going to have the finish that he wants. They go right on by, and still that outside lane is having trouble building up some steam, maybe trying to work their way up to the front. So it's not as easy for them to do it this time by with a few new leaders. David Duke and Jordan Saylor is doing a great job of controlling this thing.
And the guy that's sitting P2 in the overall series points right now, the 97 of Ed Shearer, sitting in P14, one spot back from, actually just moved up to P13. He's got a little bit of damage down the left side of his car, and he's got company right behind him that's also got some damage on the hood. So everybody right now, though, they're sitting behind that to the 18 and the 17. Now that 28 stuck in that sucker hole, making it 3 wide.
Yeah, Justin Smith in danger of falling to the back of this pack here because he is no longer in with the draft like he was. Now at 28 going to go to the back. Zach Deuscher leading the outside lane. That's Kyle Wimble to the inside in the Hot Wheels throwback. But if Justin Smith can get this drop out of the way quick enough, he might be able to settle in behind Scott Kalal and not have too much damage come from this move. But he's really holding his own, doing the side drafting with the 28 here and not going anywhere. He's kind of bringing some people along there in the middle lane.
Yeah, 17 decided to go ahead and drop down. He saw that they weren't going anywhere behind the 2, but the 2 had no choice. He had to stay up high because that 28 was doing a great job keeping his position by side drafting off. I believe that was the 06 on the bottom, but the 2, the 18, the 56, and the 36 all stuck on that high side. They're going to have to try to find a hole and work their way back down before they lose too many spots.
Yeah, they're going to have to get down here to the inside lane here and try to get back up to this pack. Don't want to lose too much ground. You lose that draft and then you're in some real trouble. But with as many cars as they have, you see how easy it is for them to get right back on the bumper here of the 28. So the top 10 all single file, then on back from 11. It's going to be side by side. Just as I say that, Reese Schaefer not content with his teammate Ed Shearer just running back here. They want to get them tank racing cars out in front here.
Yeah, Ed Shearer, even with the little bit of damage that he's got, it doesn't really look like it's affecting the nose much, but he's got a very, very fast number 7 Wendy's machine right behind, so they should be able to push for all it's worth. The 17's just got to get down. Now, as you see, the 88 of Joseph Causey pop up to that outside line. He's going to go ahead and pick them up. We might be looking at a new leader very, very soon. So far, the top 2, top 3, not much of a change.
Yeah, so the front 3 cars of that top row now all tank racing cars. And you got Jovi Ray and Daniel Bowdler just behind them. So very strong outside line here. These guys know how to push, and that's exactly why they're headed right to the front of this thing. David Duke and Jordan Saylor better take notice. I'm not sure if David Duke's one to kind of drive both lanes, but it's too late now because Cozy's going to be right to his outside here on the exit of 4.
Yeah, 88's coming with a head of steam. 17 has not let off his back bumper. Usually you don't want to be pushed through the corners, but that 88 must be comfortable, or he's telling him, man, shove it for all it's worth. 97 of Ed Shearer still right there, even with all that damage. Battle for the lead.
Yeah, Causey out to the front now, but it's going to take them a little while to clear these guys on the inside lane because they're going to want to take that 17 and the 97 along with them here. So they're going to have to really push down this back straightaway to get all 3 of those cars in the lead here on the inside lane. And I think they're going to get it here.
There you go. 97, he shouted out clear. That left the 7 up on the high side to the outside of the 78. That one Martin Truex Jr. Throwback for Daniel Bowdler. Now he's back there. 55. He went from P4, P5 all the way back to P7 now in just the just a corner.
Yeah, so Jovi Ray, Daniel Bowler, Bo Tiffany on that outside lane. I believe you got Zach Deutscher back there and Bobby Anderson as well. So some more fast cars there on the outside lane. These guys were leading that charge on the outside before. They can certainly do it again here. Jovi and Daniel, very experienced when it comes to SRN and leading races here. So look to see that Wendy's car out in front. Can't really call it a throwback since it was run this weekend by Noah Gregson. So, but I guess it's a throwback in a sense, huh, Pete?
Well, I'll tell you what, Daniel Bowdler, he's having a hard time not pushing that 7. And just, of course, as I say that, he gives him just a little bit of breathing room. But I have a feeling that was probably more than likely to let that 1 cool off just a tad because he had been all over the back bumper. But now the 1, he's got a little bit of a spot down low if he wanted it. But nope, he chooses to go ahead and stay up high with the 7. He's going to try one more time, and now they've got some help right behind him.
Yeah, they do not want to be too content here because Tank Racing will just get in control of this thing and not let it go, exactly like we saw at Daytona. So I have to imagine you're going to be seeing this happen quite a bit. I'm even surprised to see David Duke and Jordan Sailors as content as they are, especially with Corey Saucier behind them. That's 3 Rat Pack cars right there in line. So they could make a move here on the leaders potentially and make a run for first place. But just going to ride it out, maybe save some fuel at where they're running because they're making Causey burn that tank up here, which is the disadvantage of being the leader.
Just a little bit of a check on the guys that we decided or might be able to go ahead and grab this W. Right now, Bobby Anderson and that number 18. We'll just say it's a moo and brew. Although you see the Martin Sports on the left and right rear of that cow print beautiful Chevy Camaro, and a little bit further back you find the 85 sitting in 23rd of Brad Herman.
Yeah, just quietly sitting back there waiting for everything to play out as we near the halfway mark of this thing. You kind of wait until maybe 10 laps to go, but you got to stay with this lead pack and make sure you don't lose them. Otherwise, you're not going to have any shot at winning this race. But as long as you're running with this lead pack, you're definitely going to be in contention. So that's what he's just doing right now, riding towards the back of this big pack as Tank Racing's cars, Joseph Causey, Reese Schaefer, and Ed Shearer still continue to control this thing, but that outside lane starting to make a little bit of progress there with Jovi Ray now beside David Duke.
Yeah, Jovi Ray, he's been able to take those shoves that the 1 has been giving him all the way through the corners until he's had to back off. Just like right now, I mean, he is just total contact, making him actually making him a little squirrely. The 1 got squirrely as well, but backing off to go ahead and regroup. But Greg, they've got a whole lot more help. It almost seems like the high side has just as many cars as the low side does now.
Yeah, and you can just see they're not making clean contact right there. They just kind of bounce off each other headed through that little curve through the front stretch there down towards the start-finish line. So that was not a good straightaway for the 7, and the 1 did not make any time up on the leaders here, kind of losing some time to that inside lane. But they're going to see going down this backstretch, that 1 is really going to lean on the bumper of this Wendy's number 7.
Yeah, and he pulls up ever so gently, makes contact, not to throw that 7 off. Look at that, beautiful. Just getting into the corner, and he's not really backing up. But Greg, one thing I've noticed as well, that bubble that used to really be huge with these next gen or Gen 7 cars hasn't really plagued this field all that much. They're actually able to pull on up and make contact without any real issue.
Yeah, and that actually might be, since I've seen Bowdler do that again, might just be getting some air on the nose right there, taking an opportunity so they don't lose too much time. But yeah, that push towards the end of this back stretch here was massive, and he's going to be right on the bumper here at the exit of turn number 2. He's going to be pushing that 7 all the way down this back stretch. They're going to get a huge bout of momentum, starting to make some progress here on the top 3.
Yeah, they were able to come on up to the 55 as well as the 78. Now that's where they are, side by side for what would be P4 on the bottom. So great job, great effort, and great stick-with-itness, if you want to call it that, Greg, for these guys on that high side. And everybody that's up there, the reason that they haven't bailed or tried to go and make it 3 wide is because they see the effort that these guys are making. They're not losing a lot of spots. They're actually making up a few, even though they're a little bit higher than I would like going through the corner. If I'm the 7, I'm going to have my wheel where we saw the 28 earlier. The left sides are going to be either right on that broken dotted line or just below it. That way you're not giving that bottom line too much playroom.
Let's go ahead, bring up the next 5 weeks here in SRN. Quite the schedule ahead of us. Dover Motor Speedway going to be next week. So going from a 2.5 mile super speedway to a 1 mile concrete oval, going to be quite the adjustment for these drivers, keeping them on their toes. Then we're going to head out to the 2 mile Auto Club Speedway out in Fontana, California. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in 3 weeks. Iowa Speedway in 4 weeks. And then Kansas Speedway at the end of May. So still keeping these guys on their toes, but starting to shape up into a little bit more intermediate base tracks here in the middle portion of the season.
You know, Greg, I got to really wonder how much one of those butt kickers would really play with the way you get into the game at a place like Dover, the way you come up out of those corners and land on the straightaway, how much of a shot in the rear end that would really give you. And then in the beginning of the race, I talked about those bumps at Auto Club Speedway going down the backstretch. Man, I can't wait to talk to whoever wins that unit and get a sense of the racing once they've got that installed.
Yeah, well, it's going to start separating itself throughout the course of the season, but still only week number 8. Those standings are really heating up between Bobby Anderson, Blair Hallman, and Josh Siegfried. So we will keep you guys posted on that, and maybe we will see how that feels at Dover when the time comes. But yeah, we got to finish up another 35 laps here at Talladega. These guys last pitted on lap number 18, so they've been out there now for 27 laps. I have to imagine that they're going to be getting close to the bottom of these tanks here shortly.
It looks like the 7 car, he went ahead and gave up the fight that him and the 1 were putting up on the outside. He found a hole right between the 55 and the 3, ducked on down. That kind of left the 1 all by his lonesome. He's got a shot right in front of the 3, went ahead and took it. Now that bottom line is very, very full, almost all the way back to, I believe that's going to be the 56 on the outside, and it looks like your 18 Moo car was also on the bottom.
Yeah, so that 56 is leading the charge on that outside lane. Further on back, has some help, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. I'm trying to see who is with him back there. Looks like he's got Jeremy Little. And here come the pit stops. You got Jovi Ray, David Duke, Jordan Sailors, Corey Saucier, Bo, Tiffany, Daniel Bowdler, just to name a few. You got your guy Brad Herman coming down, as well as Steve Whitmore.
Yeah, you just went pretty much all the way through. Matt Greathouse, Josh Siegfried, Emerson. I mean, my whole board just kind of lit up. So we'll have to see now with all those guys coming down pit road. The rest of the field is all single file. I think we're about to see another big pack come on down pit road as the 17 gives that 88 a big old shot, maybe trying to get a little bit of separation from the 97. That way they've got a little bit of extra playroom to get down to pit road speed. Again, 55 miles an hour here at Talladega.
Well, looks like they were going to stay out. The leaders are staying out this time. See if they can stretch it out a little bit more here. Still with 33 laps to go now crossing the line. So it's going to be really close. I don't think these guys are going to have enough to make it to a one-stop strategy. So now these guys are going to have to start contemplating what to actually do and when to make that final pit stop here to make it all the way to the end. And it's only going to take a little bit of fuel. So you got to get on board with these guys that are with you. It's going to be really advantageous to have teammates lined up like you do here with Causey, Schaefer, and Shearer, because you're going to all know what strategy each other is taking. You're for sure going to come out with these guys on the exit of pit road as well, because that's the risk you take. Some guys might take 2 tires, which takes a little longer than just taking fuel. So just looking like the Tank Racing car is coming down here. Ed Shear got to be real careful not to get that speeding penalty.
Yeah, side by side up there between the 97 and the 88. 17, he stayed right behind the 88 on the bottom side, so great job by them. And with those 3 peeling off, that handed the lead over to Robert Norfleet. Now Norfleet, he's been in the pack for quite a bit, so he's been able to save a little bit of fuel. He hasn't been the 88 or a few of these other guys that have really done a lot of leading, which are the ones that were expelling the most or burning the most amount of fuel. These guys in 5th gear, just sitting in the draft, maybe about 75% throttle. All they've got to do is just stay there. So some of these guys back here, they might be able to go that distance in order to make it to the end. As the 56, very, very hot, locks him up coming across the commitment line.
That's going to be really close there to being a black flag. Maybe he got it done, maybe he didn't. But the real penalty here is him pitting by himself. He is the only one down pit road this time by. So that leaves 8 cars still yet to pit with Jeremy Little, Scott Kalal, Justin Smith, Bobby Anderson, Kyle Spees, Timothy Latham, Michael Politis, and Byron McDonald. So still waiting on all 8 of those drivers to make their pit stop here. And the longer they stay out, the longer I think that these guys might have something here in their back pocket. It's going to be so close. The last pit stop was lap 18, so it's been 32 laps around. They had a few caution laps to help them save a little bit as well. So each one of these 8 drivers is going to come down pit road to get filled all the way up. Man, they are really pushing it when it comes to pit road entry and speeding here. Not sure if all these guys got down in time, but now that's going to fully cycle out all green flag pit stops here.
Yeah, Scott Kalal, Kyle Spees, Michael Politis, Bobby Anderson, Greg Smith, Timothy Latham, and Byron McDonald. That's who just now came on down pit road. So, like you said, when it all cycles out, it's going to come back to the 88 of Joseph Causey, Ed Shearer close in tow, and the 17 of Reese Schaefer. So the 97 and the 17, they swap positions, and they've picked up, it looks like, the 24 right there with them as well. So very, very strong 4-pack of cars coming on by everybody that's just now coming off pit road.
Yeah, and that's just going to give them a big gap over those drivers too. I think these guys might be in trouble right now with the way that Tank Racing is looking out here. So I believe that they might have taken a 4-tire and fuel pit stop as well. So Tank Racing, knowing that they had to fuel these things up all the way, I think they might have taken 4 tires at the same time, knowing that it was going to take them just as long on pit road. So now they've cycled back out to the lead, and you can see the gap there. They have a pretty sizable gap from them on back to David Duke.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'm watching these guys. They are in about as straight a line as you can get. Nobody's ducking out except for maybe to cool off the motor in any of these Mustang GTs. But the 97 is Shearer all over the back bumper of the 88, giving him a shove everywhere he's comfortable, but there's no reason to give him a shove through the corner, possibly get that 88 upset and wreck him into the outside wall. I mentioned I mentioned earlier how very easy it is to wreck, try to catch it, and just get it planted into the fence.
Yeah, so with 29 laps to go, we have quite the situation on our hands, Pete. Some people might not be able to make it. Actually, a lot of people are not going to be able to make it. I think we can say that confidently. But we have a few guys out here who may, just may, be able to coast this thing to victory. They're not going to be in any desire to lead this thing. They want to kind of ride half throttle as much as they can here through this green flag run, if it stays green the whole way, and save fuel the entire time. That's the only way that they're going to make it work. But we could very well see some strategy play out and get a surprise winner at the end of this thing. But that's our pole sitter just in front of our leaders there, Matthew Greathouse, who's still back in 32nd position. He is now in danger of falling a lap down right there with Emerson Ardon as well. So they're going to go right on by these two. And now Greathouse is not getting any better when it comes to how his night is going here this evening.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the 51 probably doesn't know just how much damage that the 57 has, but he was able to get on by him using a little bit of that draft. He's going to be able to suck up just a little bit. Might have had just enough of a push. We'll have to see if he's able to clamp on to the back of that 24 and get pulled around. Again, it only takes about 2/10. If the guys drafting in front of you have a very, very strong pack, and so far it looks like the 51 is going to be able to get there and stay with them.
Yeah, it's a big move there by the 51 because this is the lead pack. This is who you got to stay with because they're going to pick up another lap car here. That's Jeremy Little. They're going to go right on by him. He's got to stay in front of all these lap cars. So as long as he stays with this pack and he gets a caution, Matthew Greathouse should be able to get that lead lap back, and we'll see how he does here towards the end. Maybe he can get that 51 back up towards the front where he started the evening and finish strong here for Phoenix Virtual Racing. But Tank Racing is dominating here. They have 4 of the top 4 spots. They're just missing, trying to go through right now, Emerson Ardon, who is back in 32nd. So Devin Zimmerman is technically a part of Tank Racing, doesn't run and score points for them, but he is running 7th as well. So Tank Racing really flexing their muscles this year when it comes to super speedways.
Yo, could this be the race where the 24 of Seth Berger actually gets up there and was able to grab that W that has eluded him so far this season? 88's very strong, 97's been pushing him, 17's been staying in line. But yeah, that 4th place car right now, that number 24, he's in a good spot if he can go ahead and knock this one out.
Well, Seth's had a little bit of success in the Cup Series. He does have a win so far this season in that 24, but he's had troubles in the Xfinity Series. So definitely at home when he's here up front with his teammates here in the Cup Series. But yeah, I mean, why not get the second one? Ed Shearer just did it last week, became the first repeat winner in the Cup Series. So why not make it 2 weeks in a row where Tank Racing doubles up? Joseph Causey could very well do that as well. And then Reese Schaefer. I mean, this guy has been running top 3 in the points all season long without a win to his name yet. That just goes to show how consistent that 17 is. And that kind of reflects what Matt Kenseth used to do in that number 17 DeWalt. Just consistency kept him up towards the front. And, I mean, it paid off.
Yeah, absolutely. That season that he got the championship, he went winless the entire season, and that's why they actually made some changes to the NASCAR rules so that nobody could actually do that again. But hey, some people are rule makers, some people are rule breakers. But Kenseth had a hell of a season that year, very, very consistent, which is exactly what Tank Racing has been so far this season.
Yeah, so that 24 to go. That hashtag Go Faster is out and about, Pete, here at Talladega. It's time for these guys to go faster because these Tank Racing teammates here along with Matthew Greathouse just behind them, the lap 51 car, are running really tight with each other here and are flying around, putting some distance between them in 5th place of David Duke on back, Joey Ray, Devin Zimmerman, Zach Deuscher, Daniel Badler back there in that pack. So you got Jeremy Little as well, a lap car. So it's about equal-sized packs here up towards the front. That's not what you want when you're trying to run these guys down.
No, not at all. When you look at the 78 on the scoring pylon on the left-hand side of your screen, you see that they're staying just about 2 seconds. They're not really making up a whole lot of time. And just as I say that, now to 1.8, I think these guys are pretty close to that draft. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. But you know what? We're going to have to see that after this bout of commercial breaks. We're going to be right back here shortly, Pete. Don't go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktx.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
All right, back out here at Talladega with 20 laps to go in this thing. Your top five, you're looking right at them right now. Just because Ed Sheeran, Reese Schaefer, Seth Berger, and then another 2 seconds on back. You're going to have David Duke back there in the 78. So, yeah, this pack is really running well up towards the front feet and leaving or picking up right where they left off out of Daytona. Just dominated that race, pulling off the strategy here again tonight, making it look easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we went to commercial break, I was talking. They were about 1.8 seconds between the guy sitting in fourth right now, Seth Berger, back to Duke in the 78. Now it's just crawled its way up to 3 seconds even. So that top four, with a little bit of help from the 51s, trying to stay the first car one lap down. They've got a nice little pack here, and the only time you really see the 97 pull out is just to cool up that motor, but otherwise he has been glued to the back end of this 88 all the way around this super speedway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. They're making this speed happen with a smaller pack here. I mean, that pack further on back is getting a little bit bigger. Go ahead, take a look further on there. You see it. I mean, these guys have nothing for them. The Tank Racing guys, along with Matthew Greyhouse, are just putting some serious time in between this 78 out of Rat Pack Racing. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but, man, that first pack is tight and running really good times up front, and maybe you're going to see some people step out here in the second pack and try to lead this thing back up to the front. I'm guessing that one of Daniel Bowler steps out here shortly and maybe tries to make a run with a few of these guys behind him. He's got Brad Herman sitting there too. You know he's going to want to get up towards the front as well.
And what's really strange is the 78 doesn't have any damage. The 33 is Zimmerman. There's no damage on that Mustang either. So I'm not quite sure why these guys are having any kind of an issue. The Deuce doesn't have any issues. The one was really strong earlier. That DuPont machine, 4 or 5 cars back, there's no real issues with him. So I'm not quite sure why these guys are actually falling seconds back. Now it looks like they're gonna go ahead and try to shift up just a little bit, try to find out who is going to be the best at leading. The one was doing a great job pushing earlier. He's pulled up behind the 78. There's the 13 as well. Let's see if this new configuration will help move them on up. There's the 13 and now the 85. Like you just said, we'll have to see if Brad Herman can maybe help this mix too.
Yeah, I think they caught wind there that maybe Devin Zimmerman was hurting this line more than helping it, and that's exactly what I thought. Daniel Bowler he just lost patience there, jumped out, and Duke saw that happen, and he jumped out there with him, and they got right on by that 33. So we'll see if they can start making up time, but man, just like that, They're over 5 seconds behind this lead pack, so it's going to be really tough to catch these guys coming to the stripe to take 15 laps to go.
Yeah, those guys had to try to mix something in order to, hashtag go faster. They had to find the right mix, see what was going to work. That little bit of a shift cost them over a second, and that really hasn't helped them at all. When they got back in line, they were right around 5.2. They're still 5.2. Let's see if another lap under their belt is able to make any change. But so far, it's looking to be the status quo.
Checking in on that butt kicker hard charger. We've currently got Brad Herman slotted in that position. It's a tight battle between him and that man just in front of him, Bo Tiffany. Brad's at plus 31. Bo is at plus 30. So these two guys started at the rear of this thing, 37th and 39th respectively. And now both find themselves sitting in the top 10. Not surprised to see that in the least bit, Pete.
No, not at all. I actually was talking to Brad Herman at the Glen. I decided to pop in and kind of help him out, and he was doing great. He was actually one of the biggest movers at the Glen until he made a mistake, got loose at the bottom of the S's, and lost a whole bunch of time. But I'm glad to see him having a good race here at Talladega.
So who do we think gets it this time, Pete? Devin Zimmerman with the win last time when it was kind of running and shaping up this way. Now Joseph Causey finds himself with Ed Shearer pushing him all the way. Does Reese Schaefer step out, maybe potentially make a run at his first win on the season? Or do we see these guys stay in line again and just get it done and come home with max points when it comes to the team championship?
Well, I'll tell you what, these guys have been racing team all season long. I think maybe they might give a little bit of a push to Reese to see if they can't get that 17 Matt Kenseth throwback across the line and grab him his win and help him out as the season goes on. We'll have to see if the 88 is able to hold off the 97. 97 does have a little bit of damage, so he's not going to be that great in the open air, which could bode well for the 88 or the 17. So we'll have to see who steps out, if anybody steps out.
Well, that is my pick. If it stays the way it is right now, Bobby Anderson, he's back in 23rd. I'm going to go ahead and make a compensatory pick here, I guess you could call it. I'm going with this number 17 here to get his first win on the season. Make that 3 or actually 4 Tank Racing Cup cars that have gotten a W. That is a really cool Healthcare Billing Incorporated themed Matt Kenseth throwback. So one of my favorites out here tonight. Let's go ahead further on back in the pack. This is where Jovi Ray is running now. He was up towards the front not too long ago, finds himself in 15th now. And man, it's just wild to me that this pack is as big as it is, but as organized as it is. And that's exactly why they're constantly losing time. Now find themselves 6 seconds back, regardless of who is leading this thing. It just doesn't seem to stand up to those guys out in front. They are pulling away from this big pack.
Yeah, I think as soon as they started shifting people over and over again, trying to find who was fastest, rather than just getting white knuckle on the wheel, getting the elbows up, and just pushing. There were gaps between like second and third when we're talking about this pack, not the first pack, but second to third in line here, and then again fifth and sixth in line and whatnot, rather than everybody up close. So that could be the issue there, where the guys first through fourth in the lead right now, they have been nose to tail every single lap except to cool off those Mustangs.
Riding on board with Daniel Bowler. That's just how much you can see. You can barely see the leaders. So yeah, not much action here further on back in the pack, which is exactly why we are following the top 5 for everybody asking about it out there in the chat. This is where it's at right here in the front of this thing. So yeah, Joseph Causey still leading the way here over Ed Shearer, Reese Schaefer, Seth Berger, and that's Matthew Greyhouse a lap down. So until we see some more action happening out there on the track, we're going to stick right here all the way to the end of this thing with 10 laps to go here at Talladega.
Yeah, last time across the line, as you just said, 10 to go here. Can these guys hold it down for 10 more laps? Can they be mistake-free? Can they not, get too aggressive with the bump coming off of or staying connected through the corner? The 97's been with the 88. 17 has been giving them a little bit of room. But when it comes crunch time, we're looking at some pit stops from guys further in the back.
Yeah, Bowdler, Duke. You got Jovi Ray, Jordan Sailors. Oh, Whitmore and Corey Saucier getting into one another back there. Saucier facing the wrong way on pit road. That is not going to help the threes case here at the end of this thing.
Not at all. With all those guys going down pit road, it handed P5 over to Zach Deutscher with Kyle Speed, Scott Kalaw, Robert Norfleet, and Timothy Latham in his number 5. So whole new pack to try to see what they can do time-wise with the front. But we're talking now 7 seconds back. I think that's going to be about all they wrote, unless again something happens with this front pack. Oh, you know what? I just thought, I'm sorry, Greg, I didn't mean to cut you off. The 88 has been in front this entire time. The 97 hasn't attempted to pull out. 17 hasn't attempted to pull out. Have they been saving all the fuel that they can? Is the 88 going to be short?
I have no idea, but I have to imagine that they are going to ride this thing out as long as they can until maybe potentially a caution flag comes out so that they do not lose that track position. But they did put down a few other drivers a lap down right there. Bo Tiffany now going a lap down. Corey Saucier also a part of that group that just went a lap down. So they got a few other cars that are not too far ahead of them that are facing down the reality of going a lap down. Bobby Anderson and Byron McDonald now on pit road as well.
Yeah, Bobby Anderson and Byron McDonald on pit road. It looks like that is going to be it so far. Nobody else outside of this main pack has gone down pit road, which is exactly what you would expect because nobody wants to do it alone. Otherwise, you just lose more and more time.
Yeah, and I just, I think there's only maybe 4 or 5 cars that can actually make it to the end of this thing. We saw Scott Kalal. He stayed out there for quite some time. He was one of the last cars that came down and pitted. You also had Kyle Spees, who came down at the same time. Timothy Latham, Michael Politis, and Justin Smith all came down on that lap 50 pit stop. Those are going to be the guys I'm keeping my eye on to potentially make it to the end of this thing. Coming to the stripe with 6 laps to go. That's Tommy Haynes, who's going to be going a lap down now out of Zuyos Racing.
Yeah, him and that bagging machine going to go ahead and keep it on the low side. All these cars going to go on up and get around them and then try to duck back in. And this lead pack has picked up another car. It looks like it's going to be the 13 DuPont machine as well. So now not only has the 51 been able to camp on and stay in the lucky dog spot, and now he's got the 13 right behind him, and you see that you just saw them get on by that bang machine. So we'll have to see if he's able to camp on to this draft as well. I'm really, really curious. Oh, 88's going to come on down pit road. 97's coming with him.
Yeah, those are the only 2 out of this camp. Reese Schaefer now taking over the lead. Causey and Shearer coming down pit road together. That will pay dividends. They will be able to come out at the same time, but they need maybe a bigger pack to make anything work here. So we'll see if Reese Schaefer maybe saved enough fuel. He came down on lap 48. That's 2 laps before those guys and like Timothy Latham, Politis, Justin Smith, Kyle Spees, and Scott Kalal. So he's going to be getting a big push now from his teammate there, Seth Berger. Bo Tiffany and Tommy Haynes, they're going to work on trying to get their lap back the old-fashioned way here.
Yeah, but you look at Tim Latham and Politis and Smith and Spees, all of a sudden those times are dropping like a rock, Greg. They were over 9 seconds, now down to 8.5. Pretty soon it's going to be 7. This now pack of 2, are they? 17's actually up out of the groove. Berger in the 24 is taking over the lead.
Yeah, and that cool Darrell Waltrip Gatorade throwback 24 now assumes the lead, maybe staring down his second win of the season here in the Cup Series. Those 2 lap cars, Bo Tiffany, Tommy Haynes, getting on by. That puts Matt Greathouse back in contention for that lucky dog. But Steve Whitmore just behind him in that 70 is going to be looking to get by him in case something happens here with 4 laps to go. It's going to be pivotal to have that position on the track.
Yeah, that bigger group, it started to stabilize now. Timothy Latham has cut it down from 9 seconds down to 6 just as they enter the 5-second bracket. Seth Berger in that 24 in P1. Reese Schaefer now in that 17 P2, 3/10 behind Berger. I think they might have let those guys go to get back in the draft, try to save a little bit more fuel to go these remaining 4, now 3 laps to go.
Yeah, that could have been a big move to let them on by. Now Seth Berger doesn't have to be pedaled to the metal the whole way around. That put Reese Schaefer 2 cars behind the 24 as well, so that's going to be hard for him to get back around and make a run at the win here. Seth Berger, if he could just coast around, Berger Nation going to be real happy with the effort here tonight for that 24 out of Tank Racing. So 3 laps to go, really 2.5. Now entering turn number 3. See if he can make it to the end. I know he's going to have some very curious guys a few laps or a few seconds back, Latham now only 4 seconds behind these leaders. He's bringing Politis, his teammate, with him. Justin Smith and Scott Kalal, Kyle Spees, Robert Norfleet, all very invested as we see Seth Berger coming down pit road. That's going to hand it over to Reese Schaefer.
Yeah, Reese Schaefer coming to 2 to go. He's got the draft of the 70 and others, but Politis, Latham, and others, they are gaining massive amount of time. Now down to just about 2 seconds. The 17, no help. They are gone off the front end of that, I believe that was the 70, right up ahead of him.
Oh,
yeah, he's got no help. Here comes Latham.
This is a big, huge run here for Timothy Latham's got his teammate to go with him. Nothing that Reese Schaefer is going to be able to do right here, but watch them go on by. New leader, that's Timothy Latham in the 5.
Yeah, Timothy Latham in that Texas Terry Labonte throwback. You put a tiger on the front of that thing, and that's exactly what you'd have with the 6 of Michael Politis right in his back pocket. Gregory Smith, now P3, Scott Kalal, and Kyle Spees, going to go ahead and round out your top 5. Robert Norfleet, Reese Schaefer, Joseph Causey, Ed Shearer, and Seth Berger now rounding out your top 10. Final lap, Greg.
Yep, 1 lap to go, and we'll see just how loyal your teammate here is. Michael Politis shoving Timothy Latham down the backstretch. You also got 2 teammates there with Justin Smith and Scott Kalal. We'll see what they do. I believe Justin's going to jump up here, maybe make a run here through the turn. Smart move to wait here on the exit of 4 and make a big push out of that with all the momentum you can get. You're going to need your teammate here on your bumper. He doesn't have Scott there yet, but he's got a big run on the 6 here. He's getting the shove he needs from the 23, but I think this is all Timothy Latham. They come around the final stretch down the front straightaway. The 5 has no contestant. He wins his first race here in SRN Season 3. Timothy Latham headed to victory lane.
Big congratulations to that Raise Energy. Number 5 for Tim Latham. Absolutely happy for him. Greg Smith and Michael Politis at the line. You want to talk about tight for P number 2. Scott Kalal and Kyle Spees round out your top 5. Big congratulations to Tim Latham. Not only is he a great car painter, Greg, but it looks like he's a great super speedway racer as well.
Yeah, and I mean, why not have a Hendrix throwback paint scheme to get you around the super speedways as well as that just seems to be their playground at times. But he is super excited to get around and celebrate. You're going to see his teammate there, Michael Politis, head down pit road, stuck with him the whole way, gave him the push he needed, that he just needed to get that first win, and gets it done here. Leads 1 lap, I believe, and the lap that mattered, the last one. And he gets that first W here tonight. And the first W for Gear Up Motorsports all season long as well. So the 5 is going to burn it down here at Talladega.
Yeah, Timothy Latham up 19 spots total. So he was one of the guys that decided he was going to start a little bit further in the back. Didn't get caught up in that early caution. Now he's celebrating.
Yeah, the butt kicker hard charge are going to go to Jovi Ray this evening. Finished at plus 22 in 14th. So good run by them. It was a tightly contested race with him, Bo Tiffany, as well as a few others like Steve Whitmore and this very Timothy Latham, who was plus 19 on the evening. So he has been dying to get back into victory lane, and he gets it done at Dega. So he's going to have some fun out here burning it down for everybody in the stands, and eventually he's going to pull it down victory lane. But that was your TJ's team winning moment. Let's go ahead and what do you say we bring up these results here this evening?
Sounds great.
Well, Timothy Latham comes home by a gap of about a tenth of a second over Politis. Justin Smith they essentially tied there for second, but it goes to Politis, Justin Smith in third, Scott Kalal in fourth, Kyle Spees in fifth, Robert Norfleet, Reese Schaefer, Joseph Causey, Ed Shearer, and Jordan Sailors round out your top 10. So a very good run here for a lot of these guys that needed it tonight, Pete.
Yeah, not bad. Then we're looking at Daniel Bowdler. Seth Berger, after thinking that he might have been able to save enough fuel, brings it home P12 after having to pit. David Duke in P13. Jovi Ray, you're talking about the biggest mover, sitting P14. Zach Deutscher, P15. Bo Tiffany, 16th. Tommy Haynes, 17th. Blair Holloman in his 06, P18.
Yeah, Devin Zimmerman and Steve Whitmore rounding out your top 20. So let's go ahead, track down Michael Politis. Let's see if we can find him. I know he's probably having a good time celebrating with him and his teammate there. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Michael, it is Greg Olenek and Pete Rusick up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Congrats on your first podium of the season, bud. Tell me how that run was and how it feels to get kind of the monkey off your back here.
What's up, guys? What's up? We finally made it up here. We stayed together on this final stretch. I was getting a little nervous because Tank was running away with it, and we had our doubts that they weren't going to make it on fuel, but we just stuck together. We had some patience, and then we hooked up there with Latham and Rob, and everybody there had their patience, and it paid out for us.
I mean, for that last lap, 28 gave you a big old shot to the rear end. Saw you get a little loose, and at the line, y'all pretty much tied and gave it to Greg Smith. Was there any kind of a conversation that you and Timothy Latham had prior to that last lap, talking about sticking with each other?
Greg roughed me up a little bit, but he had to do what he had to do to get alongside of me. Obviously, in that situation, I had to stick with Latham there. He gave it. Did he give it to Greg, or did he give it to me for second place?
At this
you
point,
finished P3. Yeah.
Okay, because over here it has us tied up. All right. Despite that, it's even getting a third place. It's a good finish. It's a great finish for Gear Up, for the number 6 Gear Up car, for the team. We really needed it. We had some things that didn't go our way this season, but we're just maintaining our patience, and we're just trying to get through the season and grind it out with the rest of the league. And today we just happened to get 2 of the top 3 spots.
Yeah, I mean, you guys really came on strong here and are picking up some momentum heading down the stretch here in Season 3. So before we let you go, Michael, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
I want to ask you guys a question. Did you see this coming? Did you see the fuel strategy coming?
We kind of saw it shaping up here once that first caution came out, and I had to imagine it was very tight on the fuel strategy. So once I saw you guys make it to that 50 lap mark before you made that green flag pit stop, I had to assume it was going to be very close, and it was, and it worked out just fine for you guys.
Yeah, so we kept our focus to the finish line, and we got it done today. I want to thank Gear Up Motorsports. I want to thank Gabriel Sports Car. I want to thank my teammates Brian, Rob, Tim. They've been amazing. They've helped me get better through this season, so a big thanks to them. I want to thank friends and family that are tuning in and watching. So I'm happy for our team. I'm happy for everyone in the broadcast that are watching our races. We're trying to put good quality races together, and I'm glad today that it just happened to be us on top.
Well, congratulations. Whether it gave you second or third, I think that's still up in the air. My scoring has given you third, but it very well could be second. Regardless, man, congrats on an awesome run here. You and your teammate brought it home and in good fashion, man. First win of the season for Gear Up Motorsports, and you definitely had a big part in that. So congrats again, Michael.
Thank you, guys. If I had the champagne, I would be splashing it over the podium right now.
Well, don't do it on my computer, man. That's all I ask.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, take care, man. That was Michael Politis, who either came home in second or third. It's still up in the air because, yeah, I'm showing second or third, Pete, and I know when we went through the results, it showed him in second. So, regardless, great run for Politis. Let's go ahead and now track down Justin Smith and bring him up into the booth. Justin, congratulations. It's Greg Olenek and Pete Rusick up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Your first podium on the season as well, after probably not starting off the way you wanted it. How's it feel to kind of get that off your back and maybe start making some good momentum towards the end of the season?
Oh, well, I appreciate it, Greg. It's definitely a burden off the shoulders. I've been in the rookie slumps. Usually they call them sophomore slumps, but this rookie year has been pretty difficult. There's a lot of tough competition in this field, and pulling off a third-place finish tonight is pretty exciting.
I tell you what, Greg, it was absolutely great to see that Davey Allison number 28 throwback out there on track. And we were kind of keeping an eye on you several times throughout the race, getting into the corners, showing exactly what lines needed to be run around this place in order to stay right with the bottom. And you proved to be there at the end. And, man, a great finish between you and the 6 of Mike Politis. What more did you need to get up to Latham?
Well, about halfway through the race, I had made a comment with the rest of my team saying that the outside line, if we could get about 4 to 5 cars up there, we were moving pretty good. I felt like I had a strong car on the outside if I could be the lead car. I got stuck probably 3 wide about lap 30 into the race, and I fell back a little bit, got back in line, but that top line would really run with 5 cars in it. You couldn't get too many in it, then it just die out.
Well, Justin, man, you made the right move to get you in position to win your first race. Just unfortunately came up a little bit short. Looks like you're going to be officially scored in third place, even though my scoring has you and Politis flipped. Still a third place run on the evening is a good way to get it started heading in the right direction. You can still make the playoffs if you really put them together here the next couple of weeks. But, man, before we let you go, you got any friends, any sponsors, any shout-outs you want to give out?
I do, man. I want to thank my wife for taking care of the 4 kids at the house, also being the main sponsor on the race car. I hate that we couldn't have it on there this weekend just due to it being a throwback scheme, but, brought the Davey Allison car to Talladega. What better way to do that? Also picked up a new sponsor, Cruisers of Mountain Home, a local car club out of Arkansas. Nothing local to me, but they reached out to me in support, watching the viewings. All my buddies out there that, make fun of me about joining this thing and trying to compete in the back of the pack. But we're going to get this rookie stripe off and come back for season 2, I think.
All right, man. Well, we look forward to that, and I think you will be making some big progress here towards the end of the season. You look like you're starting to take that rookie stripe off here in the middle of season 3. So, Justin, congrats again on a good run here, and get that thing ready for Dover next week. We'll see you when the time comes.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. See you next weekend.
All right, that was Justin Smith, who came home in second this evening. But let's go ahead, get to the man of the hour, and bring up Timothy Latham. Timothy, it's Greg and Pete up in the booth. You get it done here tonight. Get that first win of the season, man. Been a long time coming. I remember when you got into the league, you were ripping them off left and right. Kind of went through a drought. Now you find yourself back in victory lane. How does it feel, bud?
It feels great, especially at a super speedway where anybody can win. Man, that's great. I knew we were cutting it close on fuel. I knew the tank guys were cutting it super close on fuel. I know those guys that pit on 46 were definitely not making it. I don't know if they did that by design or what, but we got it done, man. I appreciate my teammates out there helping me out the best I can. I know once Brian unfortunately went out, he was helping us on the spotter stand, so just thanks to all the guys on the team, man. This was a great time tonight.
Tim, it's Pete. You know that I'm a big fan of yours. I get to keep up with you in a couple of different nights throughout the week. Congratulations bringing that Tony the Tiger throwback Raise Energy machine on home. I really ain't got nothing for you as far as the question goes, but how does it feel to finally grab this W here in SRN at Dega?
It feels great. Like I said, I didn't expect to do it at a super speedway. Usually I get the bad end of the stick on these things. I'll lead a bunch of laps or get a pack up front, and then I'll get wrecked on the last lap or something. But finally, I think this is the first time I've won on a super speedway in SRN, so I'm finally glad to get that monkey off my back for sure.
Well, you mentioned it. It really does leave the door open for anybody to win these races, which does make it harder. I mean, you've got to be coming up with strategy and putting yourself in positions to win these things, and that's exactly what you did tonight. What lap did it click? Was it when you were pacing around on that first caution? Did you know that there was a possibility you could make it to lap 50 and make it to the end of this thing by just cruising and running half throttle for as long as you did? When did it click that you might be able to do that?
Yeah, I figured we'd be able to do it. I was looking at the fuel not only in practice when I was running in a group, but during that first run, and I still had plenty to go when that caution came out. So I figured we could at least make it 30 if we just played the half throttle, three-quarter throttle game, and it worked out in the end for sure. I ran out of fuel during the burnout.
Well, it certainly did. And Timothy, before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout-out to?
Yeah, just thanks again to the team. They really helped out tonight, especially with practice and during the race, pushing each other, and it was a blast there. I want to thank Gear Up, everybody there for giving me this opportunity, everybody at Rep Sports, Raise Energy. All those guys pay the bills, so I'm happy to do this for them, and hopefully we can keep it up front every week.
All right, man. Well, I expect you to be strong next week when we head out to Dover as well. Maybe you make this thing back-to-back here and really get that momentum heading in the right direction towards the playoffs. So, Timothy, congrats again on your first win of the season, man. Have fun celebrating with your Gear Up teammates, and we'll see you next week at the Monster Mile.
All righty, appreciate it.
All right, Pete. Well, that was our winner here this evening. Timothy Latham bringing it home, leading just one lap at the end. Had the momentum he needed to catch up to that lead pack of tank racing cars who were falling off one by one with fuel issues. They did not save enough, but Timothy did, and it pays off big time at the end, getting that first win on the season.
Yeah, again, Timothy Latham, he's very, very strong. No matter what night I actually get a chance to catch him racing, really no surprise. I mean, yeah, these Talladega and Daytona fields, they are stacked each and every time we get to cover one of these races, Greg. But I'm very, very happy for Tim Latham. He absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, so that is just the first race of 3 here this week at Talladega. Throwback week here in SRN, so quite a few good ones out here this evening. But this one coming home in victory lane, you mentioned it, the Terry Labonte. I kind of consider it a Kyle Busch throwback a little bit, going back to the number 5 Hendricks days back when he was running it. It could be very well be Brian Vickers, for all we know, or Mark Martin. Who knows? There was a ton of Mark Martin paint schemes in the field tonight, but there's going to be just as many tomorrow in the Truck Series race. We will be back on at the same time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll have Brandon Domain joining me up here in the booth for us that race, but that's going to do it for us here tonight. I mean, what else is there to do? I mean, we got a last lap pass for the win. Let's head on to the next race here tomorrow. So for everybody here behind the scenes, for myself and Pete Rusick, we wish you all a good night, and remember to go faster.